We have some major breaking news as NASCAR Cup Series drivers will be allowed to run more NASCAR Rally Auto Parts Series and NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series races in 2026. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, we got some pretty massive major breaking news early afternoon as it was announced that NASCAR Cup Series drivers will be eligible to run more races in 2026 in the NASCAR Rally Auto Parts Series and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in 2026. It was first reported by Kelly Crandall earlier this morning this was going to happen, and now it's been confirmed early today that those have been updated earlier today. As Bob Parker supports, Cup driver limits change for O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and Truck Series. Also, minimum age change for Xfinity will be big for Brent Cruz, who is expected to possibly do a full-time year with Joe Gibbs Racing and miss fewer races before he turns 18. Now, here's what was announced earlier today, and Bob puts out NASCAR Cup Series drivers eligibility, NASCAR Craftsman O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Now, for the NASCAR Rally Auto Parts Series, the number before I believe was 5. If you had 3 or more years of experience in the NASCAR Cup Series, you only could run 5 races in that series for the 2025 season. However, that has been changed as has been reported. NASCAR Cup Series drivers with 3+ years of full-time NASCAR Cup Series experience will now, instead of having only 5 races they're allowed to run, they can now run up to 10 races in the 2026 season. But as expected, like it's been for the last 10 years, NASCAR Cup Series drivers will be ineligible for the NASCAR Rally Auto Parts cutoff races, the playoff races, and the championship as well. As you probably saw right there, though, of course, this year they kind of got rid of the limitations on the Dasher Cash races. The Cup Series drivers will be able to run the Dasher Cash races and the Triple Truck Challenge races once again in 2026 as well. For the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, as he noted, NASCAR Cup Series drivers with 3+ years of full-time NASCAR Cup Series experience, instead of now only having 5 races they're allowed to run, they actually now run, instead of 5, they can run up to 8 Truck Series races in the 2026 year. But he also notes that he says that NASCAR Cup Series drivers are ineligible for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series cutoff, playoff races, and championship race. In addition to that as well, drivers competing in the NASCAR Rally Auto Parts Series next year are also eligible for the Craftsman Truck Series Championship race. This is not shocking and surprising on Xfinity Series guys or O'Reilly Auto Parts guys going into next year not being eligible to run. So let's say, like, for instance, Connor Zilch was to run Xfinity or Cup once again. He couldn't go down and run the Truck Series. And let's say, like, guys like Carson Quaffle, Raja Karuf are not eligible next year to go run those events. But the more interesting part about this is the minimum age requirements. There has been a change for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and I think this is something that is going to get glossed over with today's announcement. He says in the NASCAR Rally Auto Parts Series, the minimum age will move to 17 years old at road courses and tracks measuring 1.25 miles or less. And the same thing goes for drivers 18 at tracks over 1.25 miles. You can, once you turn 18, you're eligible to run out tracks over 1.2 miles, but you can't do that until you're 18 years old. For the Xfinity Series of O'Reilly Auto Parts Series prior to this year, the rule had been that you had to be 18 to run in Xfinity, regardless of how old, if you were 18 or not, if you were eligible to run full-time or not, you had to be 18 years old. They have lowered that to 17. Why is that a big deal? A big deal for Brent Cruz. There's obviously been a lot of rumors and speculation going into next year that Brent Cruz is likely going to run full-time with Joe Gibbs Racing the Xfinity Series in 2026. People thought he might go to Tricon next year, but from indications of what reports have been out there, it is expected that Brent Cruz will be full-time with Joe Gibbs Racing in the 2026 NASCAR Rally Auto Parts season. It's unknown because, again, he won't be eligible to run Daytona because, again, Brent Cruz will be 17 at that point. He turns 18 in March. I think he'll be able to run Circuit Americas, if I'm not mistaken. That's a race he'll be eligible to run since it is a road course, among other types of tracks as well. But this is a big deal for a guy like Brent Cruz, who is expected to run full-time next year in the Xfinity Series. And there's some other drivers that will get the chance and opportunity to maybe make some NASCAR Xfinity Series starts. I want to go through the other 2 points really quickly. This is not shocking and surprising. Do I entirely agree with it? I have some thoughts, and I'm kind of a little bit conflicted on this. But there's been rumors and speculation that NASCAR was looking to change it going into 2026. I know when they kind of announced that the O'Reilly entitlement sponsorship was going to be coming in for 2026, they were saying they're probably going to be kind of changing the eligibility for next year. And obviously, of course, it does pretty much also at the time confirms that there is going to be the playoffs probably next year, which I'm not a big fan of, but that's for another day. I think going from 5 to 8 is not really the end of the world. And what this means is that we'll probably see Kyle Busch run more than 5 Truck Series races next year. Try to get to that 100th Truck Series win. He'll have the chance and opportunity to do that because Kyle Busch has ran 5 races every single year. You're probably going to see a guy like Kyle Busch run more races. What this also means is probably going to see more of those younger drivers getting a chance and opportunity, like a Carson Hocevar, who will be in his 3rd full-time year in the Cup Series next year. He's expected to run a lot of Truck Series race. I know the NASCAR room and count kind of point that out. You're probably going to see guys like Carson Hocevar run more, and you're probably going to see Ross Chastain run more than just 5 races in 2026, and probably that 9 car the Junior Motorsports announced earlier this week or a couple weeks back. You're probably going to see Shane Van Gisbergen run quite a few races next year, probably not just on ovals but road courses, but you're probably going to see Ross Chastain run quite a few races next year. But it's been stated in the past that if you're going to run more Xfinity Series races, that you have to have sponsorship and funding with you to make that happen. So Junior Motorsports still has the funding, so probably see a lot of different Cup guys go down, and you never know, maybe we'll see Kyle Busch in the Xfinity Series or the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in 2026. Now, how do I feel about this? I feel very conflicted because I have thoughts. I think there's some pros to this, and I do think there's some cons to this. On the pro side of things, it probably will help a little bit with ticket sales. When you have a Cup Series driver that shows up to a track, when you have like Kyle Larson go run dirt races, for example, those ticket sales do go up. And when a guy like Kyle Larson does show up to the track, or a guy like Chase Elliott runs the Xfinity Series, or O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, or William Byron, or even if a Bubba Wallace, for example, or next year Connor Zilisch, or a Shane Van Gisbergen, for example, or Ross Chastain races, you do have the potential possibly of getting more guys the chance and opportunity to race and go in that series. So I think that's a little bit of a positive there. On the negative side of things, this may hurt development a little bit. Now, the one positive is they're not eligible to run in any other series on a full-time basis because you have to declare for a series still, which I think is still a positive there. But I don't have the biggest issue with this because, and one other thing that I think it will help, it will hurt development somewhat because you'll have the less opportunity for guys to come up. We had a major issue with this when, of course, we had the bushwhacking era back in the early 2000s and the mid 2000s when Cup drivers would run pretty much every race and development wasn't there. But we also know this too. Drivers in the lower series have said when Cup guys do go down and run in the series, they actually learn a lot more. They learn how to be better drivers, and they turn out to do a much better job in those series. So I do think that there is some positives to something like this, and I think there's some negatives to this as well because it hurt development. But look, for instance, at when like Kyle Larson ran the race at Bristol. Justin Allgaier and Carson Quaffle were 2 of the guys that could keep up throughout the race, and Connor Zilisch could a little bit as well. And Justin Allgaier is a former Cup guy at one point. There weren't a lot of guys that could keep up with Kyle Larson, and if you have more drivers show up and more guys that are talented and keep up with these Cup guys, it can lead to those guys potentially getting opportunities in Cup. We have seen a lot of drivers who haven't had a lot of Cup guys go down, and basically they've struggled in Cup. Guys like Cole Custer have not ran very, very well. Carson Hocevar has been fine, but he hasn't also won a race yet at this point. Riley Herbst, for example. Does anybody think Riley Herbst has been good this year in the Cup Series? I don't think so. Many people say that Corey Heim should probably be in that 35 car at this point, and I do believe that if Corey Heim is in that car full-time next year, he would absolutely be a championship contender. And I think that, for me, I think, again, there's some positives to something like this, but I also think there's some negatives to something like this as well. But again, it's not shocking and surprising. There were rumors around it, and again, no surprise to see that NASCAR has made these rules. I'm not mad about it. I'm not completely for this move, but I'm not against it, but I'm also not surprised by the move itself. I think it's not the most shocking move. The NASCAR has gone ahead and updated the rules for the lower series, and again, we'll see more Cup guys in the lower series next year, and we'll see how many races we do see them run because sponsorship is going to be a factor. Joe Logano talked about when he ran the Truck Series race at Bristol Dirt in 2023. When he ran that race, I think it was 2023, Logano had to pay his own money to run for Thor Sport Racing. So sponsorship is still going to be a factor for Cup Series guys to run in the series. So that is going to take special breaking news report on NASCAR updating the limits for Cup guys running in the lower series in 2026. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's video. Do you think NASCAR made the right call to go ahead and update the rules or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Later today on the channel, we're going to have reactions to Cup Series qualifying for the championship race at Phoenix. We're also going to have the Xfinity Series Championship review. Then, of course, tomorrow on the channel, we'll have the starting lineup for the Cup Series Championship race, the race review, and we potentially going to have a Shane Van Gisbergen video dropping as well, talking about his season in general. And then, of course, on Monday, we should have a NASCAR news video dropping on the channel with news breaking over the week. We're not going to talk about the state of sport dress. I did a video talking about that earlier today. And then, of course, we're going to have some silly season stuff probably to talk about. There's probably going to be a silly season update dropping on Tuesday, but starting this week, there should be some of the end of year stuff, best races of the year, go through each of the races. Probably also talk about some of the stuff for 2026 and talk about some of the drivers to watch out for going into next year. And winter predictions should be coming out for 26. And probably do a video talking in the near future about what will be coming out during the off season. We got content coming up, people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Carl Everett, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Frankie Muniz, Kyle Larson, Chase Light, Ryan Preece, Cletus Zafron, Dodge Ram, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed, Carson Hocevar, Michael McDowell, Will Brown, Brian Feeney, Cam Waters, other stuff, 2011 front row, the lawsuit. We got a lot of stuff coming on that too. Big stuff coming on the channel in the coming days and weeks as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. I'll see you guys next time for more great awesome NASCAR content, other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.